It's a cultural and history extravaganza where we take the students to the capital city of Germany.
It's a trip aimed at GCSE history students, but we're very conscious of the fact that we only get to study a small part of German history in GCSE. The course focuses only on like a really small period, and we want to take that opportunity to try and contextualise what we study in school in the wider context of German history.
Day one!
Day one.
On day one.
Wait.
Lovely! You guys, we have the best seat on the whole bus.
Okay.
Should beat me a darts, should beat me a pool.
Okay, beat me up. I can close the window for lights or open the window.
Is this a window?
No. Here, I have a table. Tables! Okay, basically, you write a list of things that you need to find. The first person to spot them all gets a 10 stick.
Yeah, or just one?
Yeah.
Just, okay, that is motivation, Fran.
A Royal Mail van, an Eddie Stobart's lorry thing, a seagull, spelt wrong, the White Cliffs of Dover, a supermarket, a helicopter, a beware of deer sign.
A what? Oh.
A shep. Thanks, Ella. A ferry, a police car, a green car, and a crane. So good though, guys. Also, we've found a crane and we
Green car, yes!
Yes! We're on the road. On the road.
Quite close to Dover!
4 cookies. Not all from me. These are my child's sickness bands, okay? Do not judge me.
It's the best of both worlds because you look great as well. Excuse me, Ella.
So the next ferry's at 7:15 and it's currently like 5 something. So
we've got 45 minutes to walk around
Yeah.
and buy food.
So we're just waiting to board and I'll see you then. Yeah.
Even on the
Gemma's
time,
leg.
takes about an hour and a half, just under.
We're moving!
My camera's that is
So hopefully most of you got some sleep.
Google Maps, guys, and see how far away we are.
Day 2. Ready to go.
Day 2.
Today it is 27 to 8 and it's going to be a bright sunny day. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Emily, you're so annoying. You're an ostrich.
You originally stood in front of the Reichstag, which is further down this road and on the left. And it was moved during the time of the Third Reich. And when they moved it, Hitler added some layers to it in anticipation of victories to come. And you got a glorious sunny day.
Yay!
What I suggest we do then is we just spend 10 minutes looking around one of the other galleries that we're not going to be guided through.
The tour starts in a while, so we're going to look around for a bit.
Fran, there's you. You're an angel. This is Hitler's model for his new town called Germania or something, wasn't it?
The dome that they were planning to build would have been as tall as the top of the ball on the TV tower. That's how big the building they were planning to build.
Look, that's a person there. That's how big it was going to be. This was just going to be his like room or something, wasn't it? It's 7:05.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
The Reichstag was burnt down in 1933. What date? The 27th/28th of February, which is my birthday. That's the only reason I can remember. Yeah.
Berlin is a place that's forever becoming and never being. Well, it's quite impressive in terms of the way it changes, the way it deals with its past, and that's something we're going to keep coming back to, is how buildings tell stories, and how do you deal with your past. Okay, this was basically the family church of the family that created Berlin, the Hohenzollerns.
Hello and welcome to Berlin. Berlin was the first place ever to introduce cobbles. Actually, I'm not sure that's true. Our limos are here.
There's your red carpet, Lauren. There's your palm trees.
House.
Full tourist mode.
Full tourist mode activated.
I'm just wondering where your famous pet animals are.
Well, this is one of them. Mine is eating me.
Lauren, hold it up and it must be true.
My hot Berlin t-shirt.
Finally, this is what you came for, wasn't it?
Basically. That's actually the Brandenburg Gate jar.
Lauren,
We are about to go through the Brandenburg Gate.
yes, lads.
That was incredibly obnoxious. I love it. I can't deal with it.
So nationalism is an idea that came in the middle of the 19th century as an idea of the left. It becomes an idea of the right in the 20th century and the extreme right.
So this is the site where, as a liberal idea, Frederick William IV had wrapped the flag around himself, the tricolour, the people's flag. But on this site, another nationalist event happened, but a far-right, nastier breed of nationalism. It was on the 10th of May 1933. Here you have the famous Berlin University, the Humboldt University. They take 20,000 books from the university library. Gee, what do you do with that? You just ignore it? There was a competition. She came up with the idea of the empty library.
Over the last 10, 15 years, nationalism's come back into politics in Europe and across the world.
10 years ago, I didn't expect the world to be the way it is. I'm genuinely concerned about the things that we study in history aren't history, they're politics, they're contemporary issues. And I think it's so important that people in democracies understand stuff about the countries they live in, other countries that are around them, about how society works, how politics works, how economics works. Because they will be asked to make decisions about politics, and they need to make those decisions in the most informed way possible. And there are a number of people around the world, in different countries, whose actions I see as dangerous. And I want students to see them in that context too.
So it seems quite distant from us, but actually very similar things are happening now.
I think people are scared, and there are always going to be extremist people. We need to do something to stop it because we can't have another dictatorship and we can't have another war.
You need to be able to understand why the world is how it is today, and it's not just about, you know, going to an exam and writing down the right facts and, you know, like writing down whatever. It's about really understanding how these things happened and if they could happen again, because yeah, you've got to learn from the past.
It's important to know about past events and like how it will affect the future and how people can learn from mistakes, but also how things are repeated.
But I think that especially in this time at the moment, there's a lot of unrest when it comes to political things. Everyone's kind of angry and upset, and I think that at this point in time especially, people just need a voice how they're feeling, and even if it is in graffiti or even if it is, you know, something, it's how they feel, and people need to address that.
Soon there'll be no one who lived through the death camps or who lived through the concentration camps, and they'll all be dead too, and we only have second-hand stories of it. But it's so important to keep those going so that we can keep saying, well, this can never ever happen again.
Well, I think it's really important to talk about it because when like Hitler came to power and even before that, things were just small. They were just little like jokes, or just someone being like not great to someone because they were Jew or whatever, or because they were homosexual or whatever. And I think that you need to address how this happened and say, are there any similarities in what is happening today? We're in Potsdam, the imperial city.
It was in Potsdam in 1945 where the Allies held their immediate post-war conference where they were deciding what to do about Germany after the Second World War. So we're going to be in Potsdam this morning for about 3 hours. There's some brilliant cafes there. If you want some proper German cake, this is a place to get it.
We're in the outside part of the cafe and we're just waiting for a butter croissant and some sweet stuff.
This looks so good.
Yours looks amazing. Someone's convinced that
Yeah,
people
like the
are wholesome.
cows. English. Look how she's built my name. Lauren.
The other thing that you might want to do is head out to Frederick the Great's palace. It's a short walk, but it's really worth seeing. An incredible sight.
This is Frederick the Great's palace. He is the son of the soldier king. Frederick the Great had 2 other brothers. Sadly, both of them died. He was the youngest out of all. His education was mainly maths and military stuff. At age 6, he was given 131 children to boss around in drills. By age 14, he'd taken over his dad's soldiers, which was the Potsdam Brigade.
Who are you talking to?
His dad wanted him to be into military, but his real interest was playing the flute and lying under the stars, shooting the stars with a gun. When he got older, he fell in love with a military guy named Alexander. So beautiful!
They planned to run away to England.
We believe someone snitched on them.
The evidence is compelling.
When he got caught, his father threw him in prison, which faced the execution court his boyfriend was going to be executed on. He had a wife that he only met for coffee once a year. This is the end of Frederick the Great's story.
This is Hackeshof area. The Hackeshof is to our right now. That's the area where you can wander around all the courtyards if you look to the right now.
What I found is that you kind of see things differently. Instead of just seeing something as a building, you understand like what it was used for or why it's there.
The teachers are really good. They kind of explain everything. We go past things that you would never guess were memorials. You might have just missed things, and the teachers stop and they tell you about it. And it just deepens knowledge that you already have.
So Georg Selinger, born 1892, deported, died at Auschwitz, but lived here.
It was
I'm not the keenest on heights, but I thought that I would regret it if I didn't, and it turned out to be, I think, interesting to see a whole wide landscape of Berlin.
So we're going to start the day by thinking about the era of the Cold War. We're going to be heading up to Bernaustrasse, which is where really the only surviving section of the Berlin Wall is. We're just about to cross the Berlin Wall where it would have been just now. You may know that David Bowie lived here for a while. He wrote that song called Heroes because there were conscripts in the Volksarmee who were ordered to guard the wall, but actually quite a few of the East German border guards would pretend not to be a very good shot, and they would aim it over the heads of people trying to escape. And allegedly that is what Bowie's song is about. It's about what he called the heroes who were defying the regime and missing so these people could escape.
So it was a Protestant church for the people of this area. But when Berlin is divided, this happens to be on the borderline. And so when the Berlin Wall is built, and that night of 13th of August 1961, and the barbed wire goes up down Bernaustrasse, it cuts the church off from most of the congregation, which means it cuts people off from a place that's holy and special to them, a place where they'd meet every Sunday to pray, to do community things. It cuts people off from their own families who are lying in the graveyards.
In a classroom, we don't get the full picture. It has made me open up my eyes to understand more on a trip in Germany than being in a classroom only thinking about and only imagining it.
History is so important because what we learn about the past helps us to shape the future. So we can learn from the mistakes that other people have made and try and live in a way which protects everybody else in the years to come. And I think it's important that everyone does know even just a small amount about the history of Germany.
History is important because you learn about what happened, and that's still happening now. Things like this repeat themselves, and it's good to know about it.
It's important to know the history behind it because then we can make choices in our future because we know background of things. It's just really interesting, and it's important to know stuff so we can protect our future.
People started to protest and call for change. Late in 1989, the East German government realised it was impossible to keep this up anymore. And they said, we're going to ease the travel restrictions, we're going to allow people to travel through. And they made this as a live television broadcast. One of the journalists said, well, when does this new thing come into force? And the person who'd been told to make the press announcement didn't know. He just looked at his paper and said, now, I think. And all of a sudden, people flocked to the wall. To utter jubilation, and of course people then started tearing down the wall physically.
I overheard this couple talking about these Germans. They understand what it means to build a wall. I heard her say that maybe Mr. Trump should visit here.
I think there is still a lot of anger and hate towards a lot of different peoples. The people are still writing messages in graffiti. I mean, they're protesting in a way, and it's quite striking because obviously it's quite permanent.
Different things in Germany are remembered in different ways. Sometimes it's a museum, sometimes it's something that is reconstructed, sometimes it's something that's preserved, and sometimes it's something that's been destroyed and there's very little sign left.
There are a number of controversies to do with the Holocaust Memorial. Firstly, where should it be? It's a national memorial, so some people say it should be in the capital city. But on the other hand, Berlin itself was capital of Nazi Germany, but the people of Berlin didn't vote in overwhelming numbers for the Nazis. Nazism is from the south, from Munich or Nuremberg or somewhere. So if you want a memorial to the actions of the Nazis, surely putting it somewhere, Munich or Nuremberg, would be a better place to remind people, perhaps. There is controversy about where you put it. So do you put it bang in the middle of the city? Because yes, on the one hand that shows its deep importance and the significance of that memorial and therefore the events. But on the other hand, if you're walking to work or you're popping off to see your nan, do you need to walk past a memorial, a reminder of genocide that you didn't commit?
walk past it every day, and say on the first day you decide to go round it, after a week or so you're gonna get bored of it. You're just gonna step over them. You're just gonna walk on them. And I think that shows how people get used to things that aren't right and get used to doing things that they shouldn't do.
I think with the smaller blocks, people just walk over them because they don't even notice they're there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just, well, first of all, it's disrespectful, but if you don't see it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's fault.
I don't like that it goes into pavement because it makes something normal, and I don't know. Because it's something to remember the deaths of nearly 6 million people. Why would you be there having a laugh with your friends? And then like kids running over it. I mean, why would you take your kids there knowing what it is as an adult? Why would you do that?
I think that firstly, it's not necessarily clear what it is. I mean, of course, I think a lot of people understand what it is, but it's just the way that it's made. And if you are a child, or if you don't understand why it's there, or even if you're just like a little bit disrespectful, then it's so easy to just misuse it. And I think that it's not necessarily one of the best memorials, because you wouldn't necessarily go up to like a war memorial or a statue and do that there, but because it looks so kind of appealing to like sit on and play around on, then it's just people, you know, they just misuse it. And I don't know if that's what the creator wanted, but I think as someone who understands why it's there, I just find it really disrespectful.
Yeah, I found that when I went, I saw so many people sitting on it, and I just thought it was very disrespectful because they didn't realise what they were actually sitting on, and how that many Jews and people died, and they don't have the decency to stand up.
The way people treat it is wrong. It should have maybe a bit more information on it, so people are saddened by what happened and they respect it more, because people just don't have the knowledge and understanding to be able to treat it how it should be treated.
I think when you see people like sitting on it or children running over it, it kind of distracts you from what you're meant to be like thinking about and looking at.
The design is controversial because what is it supposed to make you feel? It's not clear, there's no clear symbolism there for people to latch onto, which some people like and some people don't.
I guess you're supposed to feel a few things, no one's really sure what you're supposed to feel, so that's why it's so difficult to make a memorial.
It's got quite a sombre effect, but then you don't really know quite how to respond to it.
It's dull and it makes people miserable.
But I think that it's really important to make you feel small, because it's really hard for people to feel the scale of it. I mean, obviously there are something like over 2,000 blocks at the memorial.
You almost walk over the blocks, but then it builds up.
It needs to be something big, and it needs to be something kind of scary almost.
Because you've got the Jews remembered in terms of the Holocaust memorial, but separated, segregated from that is the memorial to homosexuals who were murdered by the Nazis, and then another memorial separate from that is the Roma and Sinti who were murdered by the Nazis. So there's a sort of an idea of segregation that, of course, is part of the issue that perpetuated or helped to allow those things to happen.
And also, I don't think that all the Jews should be separate from all homosexuals, because obviously they have a separate grave.
And I understand that the majority of the victims were Jews, but then if you're segregating them by who they were, then that's, you know, like, that's kind of how it started, segregation and stuff. So I think that you should just remember everyone together, and of course you should mention all the different types of people that were obviously killed.
Everything happened, so it should be together.
It was one big event caused by one extremist group, and I think no class in society should be sectioned out because of their beliefs or orientation.
I think it's wrong because that's what the Nazis did. They divided them up into groups and concentration camps.
I think the memorial should be like contrasting what they did. So they were segregating people, dividing. I think the memorial should be bringing like everybody together, no matter what they were persecuted for.
They're all people. They shouldn't be remembered for why they were persecuted. They should be remembered for the people they were.
Again, it shows that not everyone is treated the same. In a time of embracing your individuality, I don't think that should have been the case. I think it shows that people are too different to be together, and I don't think that's the right way.
So we were like a tunnel or like two big or like pillars or something. I think that you walk down like there, but obviously that can't be like climbed over and stuff. It would be tall, and I don't know, something kind of made with flowers, but then with them they can easily be like vandalised and stuff, just stamped on.
Ich würde das mehr außerhalb Berlins tun und auch vielleicht nicht so öffentlich machen, vielleicht nur einen Eingang und dann können nicht Leute und Kinder einfach nur so rumspielen und lachen und so. Das ist schon blöd.
It should be something that remembers them as people and not as like victims or just pieces of stone, because I think the interesting thing about the memorial is, for me, it doesn't feel like a memorial. It does make you feel a certain way, but it doesn't make you think of how the people lived their lives and how kind of happy they might have been before everything and how they had a life just like everyone else. It just makes you think of their death, which is not what it should be about. I think it should be about celebrating their life instead.
Something beautiful and colourful, and just something to really remember the like amazing things that they could have done and the amazing things that they did do in their lifetimes, because they missed out on so much of their life, and they're colourful people. They're not grey blocks made of cement.
And I know we remember the memorial as such a devastating thing in German society, but at the same time, life should be celebrated.
I think you should have something which is beautiful, something that isn't just grey and very uniform, something which captures the lives of people rather than the events which happened to them, which stopped them living the lives they could. I think you should have something like personal.
I would have something not as dull as the memorial.
I want to make it more colourful.
So what would you do in place of that memorial then?
I literally have no idea, because I don't really think there is a right way to actually represent how many people died, each individual person. It's crazy. So I don't really think there's
At about midday, we're then going to head over to a different part of the city, and we're going to focus in on the era of the Third Reich, in particular looking at Nazi terror. And we have a museum visit to a place called the Topography of Terror, which was originally the site of the security services, so the SS and the SD.
Vans.
Sainsbury's.
Nike.
Rocket dog.
Shoe, I think.
Wow.
Nike.
Mine are the
I love you so, the way that you do.
Right, so this is the Olympic Stadium, guys.
Is it love? Is it love? Is it love?
I really like the Olympic Stadium.
I really like the moments where we can kind of wander around by ourselves. You know, like I really like Potsdam because we could like go off and explore. So I really enjoyed that day.
Ich habe mich sehr gefreut, meine Freunde zu sehen, und also mein liebstes Stück war, wo wir essen waren. Das hat halt richtig Spaß gemacht. Und es war halt toll, alle zusammen zu sein.
Okay, thanks. You could be saying anything right now, couldn't you? How?
I think what I enjoyed the most was just that every single place we stopped, the teachers had something really interesting to say, and they were just really passionate about what they were saying, and so that everyone was engaged. And it was interesting. You wouldn't, like, if you saw that for yourself, you wouldn't know these things or like work it out, but it was really helpful to have the teachers telling you interesting things.
I think there was a very poignant moment, wasn't there, at the end of our recent trip, As we were about to leave the hotel for the last time and get on the coach to come home, there was a demonstration going on outside where there was a political group demonstrating alternative for Deutschland.
I think it was even people to the right of them.
And they were holding a demonstration, an anti-Muslim demonstration, flying the monarchist flag. And the students who saw this happening were asking questions about it, genuinely thoughtful questions, forget about the GCSE and how it might help them in the exam. It's the fact that they understood the multiple layers of what was going on outside and why they might want to kind of engage with that issue that was there.
Overall, Berlin has been absolutely amazing. It's really interesting, it's unique, and it's mind-blowing. It's amazing.
Educational, enlightening, engaging.
Well, like the whole of Berlin has just been really like artsy.
Oh yeah, can I say artsy?
No, that's cheating.
Artsy. Cool. What I personally loved about Berlin was how many trendy people there were. It's so artsy.
My word was artsy, but Mia stole it. So now I don't have a word.
Thought-bearing, soul-bearing, real, and underappreciated.
Extensive.
This is Baby G. Swimming.
This is Baby G in Alexanderplatz by the TV tower.
This is Baby G at the top of the TV tower.
Oh.